hostile centurions. They had parted ways and were all the better for it, according to many of the bowmen. "What do you suppose happened to Tribune Scipio and his legionaries?" Jace asked. "I imagine he and his men have joined a Republic patrol. They're probably mounted and riding to Rimini," Gurgly replied. "We'll get there later and report to Captain Zoltar. He'll be surprised and angry." The rest of the company of Cretan archers, under the command of Padar Zoltar, should have landed at the seaside town of Rimini. If not, then the units of bowmen would arrive from Crete within the month. "The angry I get. We lost archers," Jace commented. "Why the surprise?" "Because some did survive," Gurgly told him. One of the two scouts appeared between the trees. He ran to Jace and slid to a stop. "Just ahead, down the slope, and across a valley is a small mountain pond," he reported. "On the other side of the water, the grade is steep and thick with trees. It's defendable from there." "Where's your partner?" Jace questioned. "He headed up the valley to be sure the area is safe." "Good looking out for us," Jace complimented the archer. "Take us to the mountain oasis." As a scout and file leader, Kasia marched ahead. Lieutenant Gurgly limped forward and said a silent prayer to the goddess Algea. His plea was for a reprieve from the agony of his injuries. When they forded the Tiber River and started across the valley, Jace sent a scout to the south. He didn't want to be caught in the open if any Carthaginian soldiers happened by. To Akis Gurgly's displeasure, the goddess of pain must have been occupied elsewhere. Her gift continued to torment him all the way down the trail, across the river and the valley floor, around the pond and up into the trees. Only then did he lay down and allow the injury to become a dull ache. For 2 days the goddess Algea had been busy. From the deep cuts that didn't kill but mutilated, to the bones shattered on sharp steel, men cried out from her blessings. Only those souls in the arms of the goddess Nenya avoided the agony by dying. "I will not give you the satisfaction of crying out," Appius Pulcher growled. The legionaries shoving the tribune onto the back of the horse didn't understand his hesitation. They'd pulled the injured staff officer up the hill from the lake and carried him on a shield for over a day. If he wanted to scream, they would understand. "Appius, we can rig a real stretcher," Cornelius Scipio offered. "Stick a stretcher up your culus," Pulcher cursed. "I'm an officer of the Republic, and I will ride this horse." "Despite the pain?" "Yes, despite the pain," he groaned while shifting and trying to get a comfortable seat. "We need to report our loss of the legions to Consul Geminus." "Or he'll march into Hannibal's army," Cornelius added. "Tribunes, we should be moving," a cavalryman suggested. Around them, 2,000 legion cavalrymen filled the valley. Farther north and in the distance, Cornelius could make out the lead elements of another 2,000 mounted legionaries. Ranging far in advance of the legions from Rimini, the two groups probed, searching for the legions of Gaius Flaminius. Unfortunately, they would only find a few thousand survivors. "We should get—" Cornelius stopped and stared to the south. A lone Cretan archer stood in the center of the valley. At 500 feet, it was difficult to make out details, but the case with the warbow jutting over his shoulder helped Cornelius identify the bowman. "I see the rats from Crete are lost," a combat officer remarked. "Those rats are the reason we got out of the ambush. Without their arrows, you'd be dead." "Sorry, Tribune Scipio," the centurion apologized. "I know how much affection you have for the foreigners." Cornelius started to protest the framing of his association with the Cretan archers, but the bowmen in the valley began jumping up and down and pointing at him. "What's that? Their war dance?" The centurion laughed. Then he sneered. "Undisciplined rubble." At first Cornelius waved back, thinking to return the greeting. Then the sounds of nervous horses and angry voices from the cavalrymen drew his eyes to the north. The neat line of legion horsemen in the distance had been replaced by dust, panic, and Punic mercenaries pouring down from the surrounding hills. "Hannibal Barca at his finest," Cornelius declared. "Trap, pressure, and follow through." "I won't chastise you for that," Appius Pulcher said. "The Punic has proven his talent too often to deny his leadership."